Austin, I want to thank you very much for doing this Zoom call with me. This is cool. I think it was last May that I came to visit your school and talk and give the third talk. Obviously, the prevention of exposure to inappropriate websites and explicit content for kids. There were parents and kids in the audience, which I thought was really cool. And I know that you and your principal had worked together to get that to happen. So what I'm hoping to do today is just to get, sort of your overall take on it and what your thoughts were, about a presentation that's touching a pretty difficult topic.
Yeah, absolutely. This was it was something brand new for both myself and the principal at the time, Ms. Bridges. But we both walked away from that presentation, and she's got grandchildren. I do not have any children yet, but from that presentation, soon as I left, I called my wife. Literally, I'm driving. I'm on my way home to talk to her, but I immediately wanted to call and tell her all of the things that you had just talked about, because one day that's going to be very impactful for us, because we do hope to have children, and there's probably going to be even more dangers out there by the time they're the age where using the internet's a common practice for them. And you really opened my eyes to really what's all out there. I mean, sure, I felt like I knew quite a bit, but I hadn't even really scratched the surface before your presentation. So in the aftermath of that, the next day, I was having conversation with other employees. We talked about it quite a bit, and obviously our technology director, Mr. Mackey, was able to hear you speak and give a presentation at a school safety convention, and he immediately, I think before your presentation was even over, was texting me saying, "Hey, we need to get this guy back on campus." He walked away very impressed. And I think that was the general tone that came out of that presentation last May, was that everyone was kind of in shock initially. All these different things that are on the internet that you touched on, but they left with a deeper appreciation for it and a better understanding that really allows them to communicate with their children safety online.
That's good. I was going to ask you that. Do you think that your parents and the students that were there, left from that presentation with the tools necessary to actually talk about it?
I definitely think so. Now obviously, we don't know for certain that those conversations happen, but we did hear from some parents in attendance. Our middle school guidance counselor was one of the parents in attendance. And her and I had a conversation the next day about it. And I definitely think that her daughter's in elementary school right now, so she's not quite at that age where she's, very active online, but that she felt more confident to have that conversation with her daughter at some point in time, thanks to your presentation. And I think all the parents there probably felt the same way, just because, as you and I discussed, parents a lot of times do not know how to talk to their children about things like this online. Yeah. They might come at them one way, say something, and then their child shut down. I remember you specifically talking about that. There's one or two phrases that you can say, a child immediately denies and shuts down. And so you really opened an alternative path to have that conversation, to start that conversation. I think every parent there needed that, because talking about that sort of stuff is not easy. So you definitely helped pave a way for conversations to happen between parents and their children.
I really appreciate that. And you're right. Having that conversation is not easy. Let me ask you, do you think there were parts of that presentation that were really hard to hear, like that scared parents, that were, do you think that there was anything, and let me also ask you, do you think there was anything that was inappropriate? Did you think that there was anything that came across as inappropriate for parents and students? I believe it was 12 and up that we
Right.
were speaking with.
Right. I don't remember hearing anything that was inappropriate, because I think all of it, is because a combination of vital information. I would say probably what was most surprising was some of the statistics you shared about the number of kids, how high the percentages are who have seen explicit things online. They've seen explicit photos, explicit videos. Those numbers are staggering. And I remember myself and Ms. Bridges having that conversation about those statistics. And it was absolutely terrifying. Not just for us, I'm sure it is for parents, but we're thinking this is the age range you were talking about, is who we work with each and every day.
Yeah.
And so, if I remember correctly, I believe the percentages were in the 90s for amount of kids by a certain age have seen explicit content. And to me, that was just staggering and then absolutely eye-opening for me personally.
Yeah, it's so the statistic is that 94% of boys and 67% of girls will see this content on purpose before they leave high school, and that was in 2016. So that was before the pandemic, when virtual learning put kids in front of their computers more often, which we know just spiked exposure to inappropriate websites and internet pornography. And so it's a tremendous challenge. And we have found over the years that communication between parents and their kids is the solution, because kids can avoid the harm of that content by understanding that it's not real, that it's fake, that it's a movie, that it does not represent real life, that somebody produced those movies, and it's not a depiction of real life. So yeah, the numbers are really incredible, which is why we want to get this message out to as many schools as we can, which again, Austin, is why these videos are so important. What would you tell an administrator or a superintendent or a principal or a district safety supervisor, whoever? What would you say to them about the efficacy of having this presentation, or what would you say to them to convince them that they should?
I think it's pretty simple. It's our entire professions, what we went to school for, what we worked hard to achieve in these administrative positions is to help children, is to help our students. And there is no really way better to do that than to not only help prepare them for what they're going to see, for what, you hate to use this word, but what opportunities there are on the internet to see that sort of explicit material. And so for us as educators, as administrators, we work in the school system because we want to better the lives of the students that we deal with each and every day. And part of that is it's more than just academics. It's character, it's behavior. And a lot of times, administrators and educators, we see these children more than their parents do. That's not uncommon. Parents have to work. Our work is to work with their children.
Right.
So I think it's so vital for each and every school to have the opportunity to hear you come out and to hear those same statistics that we just talked about, and truly understand the impact explicit material has on these children, and how easy it is for them to get a hold of it, and to share it with their friends. It's not just one person finding, it's them sharing it. So for me, it's a no-brainer to tell an administrator, hey, if you really want to help better these students as a whole, this is one of those steps we've got to take. And we're not only benefiting the students, we're benefiting their parents as well, because you give them the tools, like we said, to have that conversation with their children. And that allows, I feel like, a completely different dynamic to occur in a parent-child relationship for the better. And I feel like it could even grow that relationship as well.
Yeah. what would you say to a principal or administrator who said, oh my gosh, I want to do everything I can to protect kids, and I want to do everything I can to educate kids and protect parents and educate parents, but this topic is so, taboo or scary or difficult. What would you say to the administrator that pushed back on the actual topic itself?
I would tell the administrators that at some point these children are going to be face to face with this. It does not matter how long you try to avoid it, how long the parents try to avoid it. At some point, it's going to happen. So, in my opinion, it is best to attack this problem early before it could spin out of control a little bit. And obviously, you can make the argument it has with those statistics.
Yeah.
But like I said, at some point, these children are going to come face to face with this. And at some point, these parents are going to have a conversation with their children about it. So to me, it makes the most sense for the administrator to say, we want to be a part of the solution. We want to help these kids, regardless of how, like you said, taboo the topic might be, how scary it can be, because at some point, these children are going to come face to face with it. I think it's much better to prepare them than it is to react to it after it's happened.
What I say to adults, parents, teachers, counselors, coaches, I say, if we think this is a scary topic, imagine what a 11 or 12-year-old child thinks if they stumble across it and then nobody's saying anything about it. I mean, it changes the way they see people. It changes the way they think about themselves. It changes all kinds of things. Neurologically, it changes the physical brain.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I always say, well, geez, yeah, it's scary, but we're grown-ups, imagine how scary it is for young kids.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate being able to have this conversation, because again, it's conversations just like this that really help, I think will really help other schools, other administrators, other faculty, even parents, sort of understand we're talking about the worlds our kids live in, not the world we wish they lived in.
No question.
And we have to, we have to face the realities, no matter how challenging that might be. Is there anything else you want to say, or anything else you want to offer about the talk, about the experience, the reaction, anything like that?
I think the main point that I want to get across is that this program is important. This presentation is important because it truly, it is hard to find an individual this program will not impact. I cannot believe there would be a time this presentation was given where there would be nobody impacted by the topic you're discussing. And I know you made the comment before, a lot of parents, they say, well, this couldn't be my child. We didn't raise our child this way.
Right.
But peer pressure is real. Friends see things, they share it with their friends. And so I think it's so important to utilize this tool that you have to help really try to get in front of this problem and be a part of the solution before, kind of just to repeat what I said, before it becomes something that's too late to have a solution and we just have to react on our heels. So I would 100% recommend, given this program an opportunity to come to their school as an administrator and really let the program do what it does best and impact the lives of not only parents but children for the good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate it. And you guys are going to have me back. Is that right?
Yeah, we hope so. We definitely hope so. It's on our list of things we want to happen this year.
That's great.
So like I said, we were, very impressed. obviously I heard you in May, and then our school safety director heard you over the summer. We were both really impressed. So definitely something we want to bring back and give our kids another opportunity and our parents another opportunity to hear you speak.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really appreciate it, Austin. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you.
yeah, this is great. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.